And we can just dance the night away until we get no more. Shake all the hurt away so you can feel and forget who you used to be. For just tonight, could you just dance the night away?
There we go. And yeah, I've got no points going. But yeah, so some of those it's like I said, you have to use a lot of heavy duty equipment if you have to counter for people's strength, and that's coming from someone who worked in like Walmart and stuff, where a lot of they would get a lot of these forklifts and stuff, and they'd get they had two of these big I think it was one, never mind, it wasn't two, it was one. They had the one things, and they're not called they're not like the forklifts, the manual forklifts or whatever. I can't remember what they're called now, it's been so long. But it has a little engine on it, and you can just use it to get high up. It raises up a bit, so they would use it for lights and stuff. They'd use it to go fix lights, dust lights, clean things, put in higher shelves and stuff. It was mostly just to get higher places. And it lifts you up. And then we also had the big forklifts, the ones that you had to be forklift certified for, the ones that are the engine ones. And then you had the basically little jacks. I think they were called jacks. But that's what they were. They were just the little jacks, and all you have to do is pump them up, and you can carry stuff. When I worked at Walmart, I could only use one of those because I didn't want to use the big machinery. I did not want to be trusted with merchandise falling from a really high height and hurting somebody. I did not think I could be trusted with that. Also, there's another reason why. I learned, this is gonna sound really mean, but at Walmart, never, ever do anything that you don't want to have to do on a regular basis after that. Because cross training is a very big thing at Walmart. And most retail places are like this, but Walmart's really bad about it. Which is that you could get cross-trained to do other things, other jobs in the task, and not get paid extra for them. So for instance, I was the stalker, but I could also run the register, and as soon as I had the ability to run the register, when they got busy, they would pull me from the shelves a lot of times to go run the register, which was frustrating because I would need to stop what I'm doing to go run the dang register. Sorry, I was looking at this real quick. I've just been doing this one right here. I'm trying to see how this best would be done. I feel I'm trying to think. I feel like slowness would be the start for this. Maybe, cause it's down this way. They make it seem like they go up here and back, and then go all the way around. I guess maybe go all the way around because there's a bunch of portals here you can take to go around. Okay, maybe that's what they were doing. But yeah, once you're able to do that, they will utilize you as a lot more because you become an asset. And that's good because it makes you important to the job, but it also means that they're going to take advantage of you at every fucking waking moment. Pardon my French. A good example is that during Christmas was so bad. Christmas, Thanksgiving, Halloween. Those were the bigger times for Walmart, money making wise, which is great. It makes money, everyone's happy, that kind of thing. But it also means the store's really busy, and it also means that we have tons of merchandise coming in because Walmart will most retail places will do this. I know this much. This is not a strict one for Walmart, but they'll overbuy during the season. Now, the reason they'll overbuy during the season is because they are trying to, I wonder if that's close enough. They are trying to, sorry, trying to see about getting in here a little bit better. I think that'll do. But what it is that they'll overbuy during the season because they don't know what will sell. And the way Walmart sees it, and probably most retailers in general, is that whatever they don't sell is still profitable because then they can discount it afterwards and get something back from it. So that's another thing too, because let's be real, like Walmart's like after sales were oftentimes very popular too. So, you know, it's not like a malicious hidden secret or anything. But that's what it was. Yeah. I'll try to see if that one goes all the way up. See if I can. Ooh, that's a little close. Okay. But, yeah. So during those holidays, there's a lot more customers in the store. They're here buying things for their families. It's like not a malicious thing, but it also means that there's a lot of people in the store at the same time causing, you know, backups and or overlays. You know, there's like too much people in one place, and there's things being sold. So you have a lot of stocking that needs to be done. A lot of packages have to be unloaded. There were some years where it was so bad during in the back room that you had to what's the word I was looking for? They had one year they had like a ton of back stock. It was, I wonder if this is too far in there. Yeah, I was worried about that. They what was I gonna say? They had a I'm trying to think what it's called. It's a specific product that they had. I think it was those creepy, it was Hatchimals. There we go. It was a Hatchimals. They got a ton of Hatchimals. Like, I don't know why, those things are creepy to me. But they got a bunch of those Hatchimals, and they had bought a ton of them because they had been selling out every year. We had people coming in, like, where are the Hatchimals? And they were buying them. Like, people were scalping them for, like, 4 or 5. They had to limit them to where you could only buy, like, I want to say only, like, 2 per person. And there was a problem because they first did doing it for 2 per person, 2 per customer, right? And this caused a problem because so there was one family we had an issue with where they had 3 kids and they all wanted one. So the husband went up and bought one, and then his wife went behind him and bought another one, another one for her daughter and a cousin, you know. Now, they were excused because they were local, everyone knew them, you know, that kind of thing. They were excused because everybody was aware of what was going on with them because they approached the boss. That's another thing, too. If you want nice behavior, you know, like stuff like that, and you have more than one kid to be catering to, it's always best to go to management and be polite, and they'll sometimes be lenient with you. We had a kid, and there was that family. We had another family that came in when they had electronics with I think it was the DS's, or it wasn't DS, it was PlayStations, and they wanted to get a PlayStation for not just their son but their cousin, and in most cases that would have been a no because they were limited, because again, that was electronical limitations were a very big one. Like, they would try to limit, you know, you can only have so many of these, blah 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 blah. But there was a case where they argued for it only because the kid is a cousin, but they have custody of him. Meaning I don't remember what the reason is, because it wasn't none of my business at the time. Still isn't, obviously. But they came in with paperwork saying that they had custody of their cousin or their nephew. And because of that, they had taken possession of him, and the situation, from what I gathered from, the looks that my coworkers gave me, it wasn't a good situation. And it wasn't a good situation at all. And the kid didn't have as much privileges and had kind of been denied a lot of joys that kids should have. I don't think any crime was committed against him, but I got the feeling personally that it was his mother abandoned him type thing. You know what I mean? It wasn't he'd been beaten or been left behind, but it was just more she just kind of gave up on taking care of him, you know? Just sad stuff. But it could have also been something, if we didn't know, I won't lie. She could have went and got unemployed. There was a lot of people at the time that were unemployed too due to a factory that was closed in the town. So it's possible that she was unemployed, and a lot of people were putting their kids in the custody of other relatives that could afford to care for them, as sad as that was. So, I mean, like, I don't know, but I got the feeling that everyone else is kind of touching on it wasn't as innocent as that, you know what I mean? Because there are, like, I wasn't local at the time, like, I hadn't been living in the city for long, or, like, the town, but I kind of got the impression from everyone else who knew the mom that something was going on that wasn't nice. Anywho, this kid was in the custody of the family, and so when they came in, they were exempt locally because everyone knew that they had an extra mouth to feed. So during the season, these Hatchimals were insane, and so one of the things that ended up happening was they were limiting them per person. Well, the mom and the husband, who had three girls, no, they had 2 girls and a boy. That's what it was. The dad bought one for the little boy and the daughter, and it all came out the same. Obviously, they went to the manager and explained it. They brought, like, pictures of their kids. You know, they were talking to the bosses about it. They're like, we just want to know. We don't want to, like, go and just do this without telling you, make it a stink at the registers. And most bosses will really cater to that if you are very nice about that, because that really saves them a lot of trouble. And I think it's really nice when they do that, because it makes the bosses are more likely to, like, be lenient with you and rules if you are being kind to them and the employees, because it saves them paperwork. Because every time you complain or, like, do something about it, or you make a stink in the store, they have to make a report on it. They have to, like, write it down saying customer got angry because of XYZ, especially if it causes a stink enough for them to have to call the police. It has to be something normally very severe, and, like, calling the police is a pretty severe, like, oh shit kind of thing. And some of these customers during, like, the holidays would be so unbelievably out of it. Like, I get it, it's stressful, and it's a holiday time, and you want magics and stuff, but plan better for yourself, as well as your kids. Don't come into a store and demand everything instantaneously. But during the holidays, a lot of, like, shipments would get in, and when we got those Hatchimals in, back to what I was trying to get at, those Hatchimals, they brought in shipment after shipment after shipment of it. It was insane. There was so many of them that by the end of it, all of us employees were sick of seeing them. And here's the problem. We sold out. We bought extras. We couldn't get, like, granted, like, we didn't have as many as, like, the town over, but the Walmart over in the next town actually had more income than us. Like, they had more customers and therefore more income. That's not a shade throwing at them. That's just, you know, that's just what happens. Sometimes you make more money, and then, you know, it's to it. You know, so they made more money, and so they were able to buy more, and they didn't buy more than, like, a pallet or more than us. So it wasn't, like, insane difference anyhow. They sold out, and when they sold out, people were coming over from that town to us to get some, and that kind of thing, which is just kind of what ends up happening half the time. And I wonder if I can make that. I only need to touch it. But, so yeah, they made, like, so they come over and get their stuff, and that would be that. But they got really mad when the Hatchimals were out. So I was in the middle of stocking those and trying to get them up and everything. And then they were calling me and a bunch of other people to register, so I had to stop doing what I had to do. Which, when you have to stop doing Hatchimals because of what they are, some things are marked as, like, a necessity, or, like, it wasn't like a necessity, it's marked as, like, a high traffic thing. When you have to move a high traffic thing, or a thing that's, like, a high desirable thing, I can't remember what the word they used to use for it. You have to take it off the floor and put it in the back. You cannot leave it there. If you leave it there, you can get in trouble, because people will try to steal from that. People will proceed to, like, stomp over to it and proceed to, like, crowd it we've had people, like, literally, we had one girl who literally walked away to the bathroom. Wasn't me. And the other guy who was putting things away literally walked around the corner to put something on the shelf. And he got stuck trying to fix the thing because a bunch of the boxes fell on him of toys on the top shelf, and so he had to put them back up. And so he wasn't like going away without a reason, right? And he came back, and they had like 6 of them on the shelf, or 6 of them on his cart, and they were only supposed to have he had 9 on his cart. They were only supposed to have like 6 of them because they had 3 placements for them, and they only could have 2 of them in there. And so 3 of them were sold that day. And, or 3, the 3 extras were supposed to go back because they just pulled them out because they came in, I don't remember why he had it out like there. I think they didn't know for sure how many would fit or how many faces would. They were setting the spot up for the Hatchimals and a bunch of other stuff. But someone came in and they ended up selling those 9 out within the day, and they really were meant to be selling 6 or something like that. Or they were trying to keep the amount of things down. That kind of thing. But what is this? I'm trying to think of what would all these things be mixed together. They just kind of look weird. I guess we can do this. It looks kind of like a cloak. I think that's what it's supposed to be. It's a cloak. Because I think this is supposed to be the person. This is supposed to be the inside of it. Anyways, but maybe we'll put like a little Red Riding Hood cloak to it. You know what I mean? Like that. Yeah. Okay, that works. But he left to go. He was putting stuff away, fixing it. Turned around, cart was empty. People took it to the front, and most of them were sold. I think there was one that was even stolen. But that just kind of happens sometimes. It even happens when they're on the floor too. So that ended up becoming an issue. Granted, they didn't do anything. They just told them, hey, you're supposed to be watching the car. You're not supposed to be doing that. But you're supposed to take them back to the back seat. So, and it's not normally that big of a deal, except with certain electronics and stuff, right? With toys, it sucks, but it's not great game breaker. But people have done that with video games as well. Like the DS's, or the DS's, the Wii's and the PlayStations and stuff, and those can get you in a lot more trouble because those electronics oftentimes have to be put in properly because they have codes, because they're more high security, more high-end stuff. So I wasn't in electronics art department to mess with that section of it, but I do know that there was a lot more processing involved. Alright, we start this day. I'm going on a scouting mission. I need a potion that can make me invisible. I need a potion with some bonus effects. Okay. Hold on one second. Gotta write a note down. There we go. Sorry. So I'm going to, on a scouting mission, I need a potion that will make me invisible. I need a potion that has bonus effects. Which mushroom? I want this to be the main ingredient in the potion. Okay. Invisibility. Okay. That one has invisibility. That one has invisibility. I think that's it. How would you make wish mushroom? I guess you know what? Maybe if you used it in salt? I think you get away with making it the only ingredient, but it would take you a lot. Okay. We're gonna just see about doing it. But yeah, so anyways, my point being is that, like, so I had to stop doing what I was doing several times. I had to put those damn Hatchimals up, and then I'd go out that way. Gotta throw all of my stuff back, especially during daytime. Nighttime, you can kind of leave your pallets where they're at, within reason. Like I said, if it's not a high-end thing. But if you're working daytime, you don't get that privilege, which is annoying for that to happen, because that's pulling back a full pallet. That's pushing back a cart. Because here's the thing. A pallet was faster because it was less cleanup, as silly as it sounds. It was less cleanup. and you could get more onto it, and therefore you could just keep going. Just keep going with your task. Not a real big deal, right? But if I wonder if I could guesstimate this, because I feel like if I turn this, it'll start to I want to say if I turn, I'm gonna put one more in, but I think if I start turning it, it'll turn the whole line with it. Okay. Now this one is this one. Yeah. Okay. Let me see if I can angle this. There we go. That might work. I can't tell if I'm lined up fully or if I'm off still. Okay, I think that's good. Lower it, line it up. Sorry, I'm gonna be quiet while I do this because it's gonna take me a moment to catch it. I think that last mushroom was a good idea. There we go. Okay. So there's that. That's one skill that we need. Let's see if I can get over here. Okay. So we got this, and it wants extra effects. So we're gonna see if we can get, the magic. We're gonna see if we can get lightning and mana. I almost forgot that part about how she wanted extra things. Sorry, I was sitting here thinking, like, do I want to go reaching for speed while I'm up here, or if I want to go for mana? I think I might go for mana because it's not all hard. I put that in my inventory and I didn't mean to. I still think we need a spice shelf, you know, for these things. But yeah, so it was really annoying when you have to do that, because, and then you might be like, oh, well, then just get a cart, because Walmart has carts as well, right? Like the little bins you can carry. The problem with those is that then you have to downstack a shelf and try to make room for everything, and you know, you have to like kind of, you know, stack it as high as you can, which means you have to take the pallet, rip it open, then you have to, you know, put as much on there as you can, make a trip back. Am I not making it far enough? I can't tell. You know, and it's a lot of excess work. It can be done, it just takes a long time. My store learned the hard way that that's the way it is with frozen and dairy. Frozen and dairy is a lot easier if they do it all pallet. You throw all the pallets out. You would think that you'd be like, oh, well, it'd be risky to the foods, but it's actually way safer because of okay. The way that it works is they normally had more than one person doing it. It was faster because taking full pallet out meant that everything was wrapped together, and we'd keep it wrapped with the plastic until everybody, like, it would stay. The way, like, the pallets are wrapped, we'd start the top and then go from there. I probably could have done more, but I didn't want to try and do that in a fight with this too. But you would unwrap it as you go along, and you keep all the cold stuff pressed together in order to keep them in a big block of, like, coldness. And normally most stores, whether it be daytime or nighttime, would throw a bunch of coworkers onto it. As long as you had more than 2 people working on it during daytime, you could get it done pretty easily, normally 4 people. And you get it done quicker by just breaking the pallets down and everyone quickly hustling around. So you put your fastest people over there, or people that didn't have rocks in their shoes, right? And you do it, and it'd be all good. At nighttime, you could do it with 2 people because it's night and they turned out like the AC, the heating would get turned down a little bit, and the cold night also would affect the store, so it would be colder at night. This also means that during the daytime, it was a lot hotter because there's a lot more bodies inside, and the heater was up more, depending on the season, obviously. But it was really, I feel like I got colder at nighttime than I did during daytime. But the point is, because of that, the stuff stays colder. Now, granted, there's a time limit to how long you can leave a pallet on the floor by OSHA standards and by the store standards as well. And you would pull them in, put them back in the freezer, change the pallet out. This also was another reason why this was important, was that if you broke them down, put them on carts, and then ran them outside, you would be opening that door constantly, which lets air in and makes that area, the cooling, hot. So that's another reason why carts were not ideal. If you wanted to do carts, because they would do it sometimes when they wanted there to not be as much foot traffic, the best way to do it, we did, because we did it once, and I told my boss that this would be a good idea, and my boss told his boss, and the boss said, fine, run it. I went into the cooler, and I broke stuff down pallet by pallet into the cart. My whole job for like a day was being inside the cooler, and being inside the freezer, and freezing my ass off, going in and breaking down the pallets, and categorizing them based on their things. So all of like the aisle that had like the waffles and stuff also had ice cream on it. We put ice cream on a cart by itself because it was kept colder than the rest of the stuff. So I went to the thing and I went and put ice cream together. I put the buckets together, put the boxes together. I categorized them by where they were closest to each other, and because I stocked them fully before and I knew what I was doing, I knew how to categorize them so that they were all within reach, and then they could just start dishing out these carts at lightning speed. I did that with all of the pallets, and we ran what we could. My coworkers that were working with me at the nighttime time, they came in and they ran what they could, and I ran in there and made carts. And the problem is, it makes you really, really, really cold. And it's really like a long and tedious process, and you have to take one person off the floor to stop stocking to do that. And it's a lot faster if you could just do it pallet by pallet with 3 to 4 people and call it. But we had a lot of pallets that day. It was a holiday. And they had big bosses coming in to check the store, so they didn't want anything in their way or anything that they could shake a stick at, despite the fact that it's completely within OSHA's rules and stuff, and didn't violate anything. Sometimes they would get snobby about it and be like, well, that just looks so dirty, so nasty. So our boss would just be like, for one day we're gonna play it by their rules and be behind a little bit and make it up the next day. So people would start prepping beforehand. So I was making preps. So I got like several carts done, and that gave them a really good head start, because the next morning the next day when I came in, day shift had said, their mid shift had told us thank you for doing that, because they were able to rush carts out, and they were able to get ice cream done quickly. They were able to get some of the smaller things like pot pies and vegetables done. And they didn't have to really do any work. And they had extra people over. That's the thing, too. They had extra people that morning to come work more of that section. And so frozen and dairy were getting a lot of help. But they were also getting a lot of employees who don't work frozen and dairy. So they were putting frozen and dairy foods in the wrong spot. So having those carts really helped them, because what they did was they saw that these carts were organized. And they said, hey, Jerry, you're not from this department normally. Here, take this cart. They gave them the baby carts, and then they let the people who knew what they were doing break down the pallets and sort their own stuff. So they let the veterans to do that. So that made it very easy, except the ice cream. They left one of the veterans to do the ice cream, because ice cream and I think milk or cheese, something like that. It was dairy. It was the not the dairy. It was the yogurt. They had a veteran do the yogurt and one do milk or the ice cream, because ice cream is just a lot, and they were stocking a lot. They had new stuff there, and they just wanted the veteran to do it right, and the veteran also wanted it done right, because it's not something you want to have to throw away. It's an expensive thing to throw away if it gets too hot or something. And I think it was also going to be a hot day, so they wanted someone who was quick as lightning to get it done, even if it was just a few carts. I want to say it was like 7 carts. It was a lot, because we ordered a lot from the store. And then they had the guy, a veteran, do the yogurt, because they have like 30,000 yogurts, and they do it from the back. So you have like a panel back there. So that means they have to stand in the cooler and stock it. And it's a lot of small things, and you can't see any labels in the back at the time. They fixed that later, where they added labels in the back. But at the time, they didn't have that, so you had to, like, figure it out Russian roulette style. Like, most of them would pull the thing forward, look at it, and put it back. But most of the coworkers knew that it was the mod backwards for them on that side. But yeah, so they did those because they didn't want those getting messed up because of the day sales. Anywho, I got word back of that day that they were happy about that, but that they still got, like, obviously chewed out for not being fast enough and blah 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 blah. And they're like, we didn't have any choice. Like, this saved us hours, and I was happy I'd saved them hours because I did frozen department. We had one who did ice cream, which didn't take him as long because there wasn't as much to, like, there was a lot to sort, but a lot of it was sitting with itself. Like, all the buckets were sitting together, all of the box ice creams, that kind of thing, because they put the boxes on top since they're lighter. Dairy had a hard time getting through because they had tons of small stuff, but they had a guy in dairy doing it, and they were just trying to get through the carts. Like I said, they prepped for it, but like I said, that was with the things that were, like, interesting about frozen and dairy and stuff like that, and lots of other things like that, where when you pulled stuff out, you had to be careful. I need a potion that boosts my combat skills. This is a delicate situation that supposed to be weak. I need a potion with multiple effects. I thought I would try, because it's got some stuff on it. So he wants some with combat skills. Hold up, this is messing with me. Does he want muscles? Dexterity. I don't know. He needs a thing with combat stats. Strength? Yeah, so he wants strength. He just wants it with other things. Okay, I think I can do that. I think we have potions that have that. They're weird ones, but they are that. Sorry, I was looking at these. Let's see if I had anything. There's this. Actually, this is probably more to that speed. Okay. I was curious if that would be considered a weak one. I don't think it is. It has multiple effects, doesn't it? Let me see here. It's got Frost. Maybe Frost is the only one that's an effect. Because I can't remember, there's a difference between effects and different components and things. I think I had more that had muscle in it. What was the one I got? Might be this one. Maybe? Okay, I guess it's because our health and mana is an effect, whereas dexterity and swiftness are like a booster. And I think it's the same thing with this. I think the bottom three are a affecting your stats, whereas the other ones affect your well-being. If that makes sense. Changes your condition type thing. Okay, we're gonna switch videos out real quick. So give me a second while I do that.
And we can just dance the night away until we get no more. I'll shake all the hurt away so you can feel and forget